Remaining inward, we'll listen to this affirmation for self-healing from Swamiji. This is number 40, awareness. Awareness deepens the more it is centered in itself, but the farther a person's interests extend outside themselves, the thinner the supply of their awareness becomes. If a person's consciousness is centered outwardly in things, it takes on those qualities which it attributes to those things. Jewelers, for instance, often have bright eyes. People with no sense of higher value have dead eyes. We need to learn to change our focus from what we're aware of to what we are aware with. We need to become more aware at the source of our awareness, at its deepest center, God. Through this awareness, our enjoyment of the surrounding world becomes intensified 1,000-fold. We'll now practice the affirmation together. First, speaking loudly, let's awaken our subconscious mind. I behold the world.
I behold the world
With eyes of calmness.
with eyes of calmness
And of faith.
and of faith.
For I know that.
For I know that
As I view others.
as I view others,
So will I.
so will I
Myself become.
myself become.
Now in a softer speaking voice, raising our awareness of the conscious mind. I behold the world.
I behold the world
With eyes of calmness.
with eyes of calmness
And faith.
and faith.
For I know that.
For I know that
As I view others.
as I view others,
So will I.
so will I
Myself become.
myself become.
And now in a whisper, I behold the world.
Behold the world
with eyes of calmness and faith. For I know that as I view others, so will I myself become. And now at the superconscious state, point between the eyebrows, repeat this affirmation silently. I behold the world with eyes of calmness and of faith. For I know that as I view others, so will I myself become. Now listening to this prayer, infuse me from my deepest center with thy joy. Make me aware of thee, my divine beloved, in all that I behold. Om. Peace. Amen. Welcome everybody to another opportunity to be together, and it's so nice to see all of you today. So this week from Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita, week number 40 is "In Surrender Lies Victory." Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. A case might be made for surrender as a path to victory in worldly conflicts, the way of passive resistance, for example, in preference to armed resistance. But our point here concerns a higher kind of surrender, the surrender of our deluded egoic will to the wise and almighty will of God. Human will is, as Paramhansa Yogananda used to say, guided by whims and limited understanding. The divine will is in harmony with every level of reality. Though the divine will sometimes appears to us at first to be wrong, it proves always eventually to be for our highest good. Human will is inconsistent. It leads us one day to success, another to disaster. The divine will, when we surrender to it completely, though it is not always easy to do so, always brings us deep inner peace and joy in the end. Jesus Christ demonstrated this perfect surrender to God's will in the Garden of Gethsemane. The night before, he was captured and imprisoned, preparatory to his crucifixion. He went apart from the others to pray and asked them to pray also. But when he returned to them, he found them asleep. Out of his love for them, he excused them, saying, "The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." He then urged them again, saying, "Watch and pray." Their weakness in those circumstances was particularly sad, and the disciples themselves must have regretted it bitterly later on. We all know the symptoms of human weakness, though we may excuse them in ourselves, saying, "Well, after all, I'm only human." But what are the signs of true strength? We find in all cases that these are the fruit of a life wholly surrendered to God. The Bhagavad Gita lists these signs in the 13th chapter: humbleness, truthfulness, and harmlessness, patience and honor, reverence for the wise, purity, constancy, control of self, contempt for sense delights, self-sacrifice, perception of the certainty of ill, in birth, old age, and frail mortality, disease, the ego's suffering, and sin, detachment, lightly holding thoughts of home, children, and wife, those ties which bind most men, an ever tranquil heart, heedless of good or adverse fortune, with the will upraised, to worship me alone unceasingly, loving deep solitude and shunning noise of foolish crowds, calm focus on the self perceived within and in infinity. These qualities reveal true wisdom, Prince. All that is otherwise is ignorance. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om. Om. Om.
Well, we'll start with that reading from Whispers of Eternity by Paramhansa Yogananda. And this one is, teach us not to follow the will, oh, the wisp of false happiness. Through the long night of error, we pursue the willow, the wisp of false happiness, gloom led only to deeper gloom. Our feet struggling to follow the path of progress, often slipped into ruts and struggled through marshes of disillusionment. The deceiving Elmo's fire of passion lures many people to their doom. Thousands are sucked down into the bog of sense-satiety. O divine friend, extinguish with thy breath this false light of destructive glee which has so often misled thy children. Headed for thy home, light instead, thy beacon of holy radiance, that every eager child pilgrim safely reach thy home. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. It's interesting listening to that, and I had a little chuckle to myself about the our chat GPT master that's there all the time. And I think, that definition of will, of that free will comes up quite often. And it's interesting how we go about our lives. in that often we do something using our egoic will, and then it's very easy these days to find the right justification behind it with a quick Google search. And then you just quickly tweak it until you find the right one that justifies your position in life. And it's quite interesting, isn't it? And, you know, we can almost do it on this path. There's so much energy out there, and there's so many people talking about different things. There's so many courses. There's so many different ways to view the truth behind everything. And, you know, I've been listening to, I think there's 105 of Ask Me About Truth by Swamiji. And it's so interesting. He talks everything from psychology, teaching, music, what was it, astrology, vegetarianism, all these kind of things. And it's so interesting. Underlying all of them, he says, don't get bogged down by justifying them. Just go to the truth. Don't get bogged down by them. And, you know, it's so interesting to hear that journey even in the talk that was just given about looking in people's eyes, and you never really think about it too much. And, you know, when you listen to Swamiji's journey, and there's really tiny little subtleties in his journey when he finds Master. If you think about his journey, he wanted truth. That was all he wanted. He found it in the Autobiography of a Yogi, and he jumped on a bus. But literally from that moment, he surrendered his will. If you notice on that journey, on the bus ride, he became a monk. In his will, he became a monk. He gave up women. He gave up that pull towards the drive of sex and money. He gave up. You'll notice that he had one of his stops on the way over. He had family. He gave up that family drive. He gave up meat. He instantly became a vegetarian, because behind that journey, he took the truth and then he did it. And then what happened? He was on a journey of truth. He turned up in his mind, in his egoic mind. He just assumed that Yogananda would be there waiting for him, didn't he? He had made that assumption that all of a sudden Yogananda was going to be waiting there for him, and he did it. And what happened? He turned up and he got told he had to do all these courses. He had to do all these. It was possibly 3 years before he could get an audience with, or become a monk and live in Mount Washington. Then eventually he said, oh, you can get on a waiting list to see Master. And that waiting list was, I think, 3 months.
Yeah, 2 or something.
2.5, 3 months before he could get on that waiting list. And he sat there and he stood firm, didn't he? He sat down and waited for Yogananda, and then Yogananda came out. It was so interesting. But each one of those steps along the way, there was a little drive of ego, wasn't there? He had an interaction with one of the ladies, I forget who it was. Sister Gyanamata. And all of a sudden his ego went into that, and he was like, wow, he was indignified. And he took that indignant approach, but then his kind eyes saw her kind eyes. So in that moment, you think about when you're indignant, do you have the energy to sit calmly and look into someone's eyes? He did that. And then he looked into this Sister Gyanamata's eyes and saw love, saw joy, saw peace. And then he didn't do anything other than apologize for his behavior. He took on board his behavior and apologized to her. Well, this has all happened within a very short period of time, but his underlying truth, his underlying seeking of truth came through all of that. It overrode all those things. And then it didn't stop there. His journey within the being a monk was the same. we listen to the stories of Yogananda. Yogananda wouldn't let idleness be. Yogananda only allowed being busy in God, being busy in seva. Swamiji was a new monk there, but he took them in charge of being all the monks because he saw the underlying truth. And what did he take away? Even Swamiji took it away. The gossip, the talk during meal times. There was no time during that period of time that wasn't in seva, wasn't in service for God. And it's quite an interesting thing, isn't it? We have this free will. Why did Yogananda teach these lessons? He taught them because there's really only free will should only be used in one way. That is to either your free will, really the choice is whether we go up towards God or away from God. There's no resting in between. It's either up in God or down in God. And gossip, chat, talking, planning, living in the future isn't, even though the intention is there, that's an egoic intention. The doing. Why is Sunday service so amazing? Why? Because the intention is all of us coming together and listening to truth. And the growth that we get just by having that intention and coming together and the doing part is what it's all about. Put your hand up if an hour before we start this meditation, your mind, your ego gives you 20 excuses why you shouldn't be here today. Or whether you could be doing something else. Or if there's another thing in that mind. It's kind of like that action versus letting that ego take over. And I love having these opportunities to talk and be around and do these things. But at some point, we have to be the doer. And that's what Yogananda and Swamiji taught. It's not just thinking, not just finding solutions, not doing, it's actually the doing part. And we all learn lessons in this way. We can sit and we can plan, we can do all these things. But even in the Autobiography of Yogi, Swami Sri said, don't have future intentions because it breeds the ability for being let down. And then all of a sudden you're bringing into yourself like downfalls, you're bringing in moods, you're bringing all these things because in your mind you've built up these things. We're born with these amazing minds. It's incredible, isn't it? Where we want to fix everything. There's something broken, we want to fix it. But how often do we put our minds into wanting to fix the problem, but not actually doing the solution? I love when we get these things and, there's a classic, you'll get a piece of furniture or you'll grab something and then you'll pull out the instruction. And of course, it's this thick, it's in every different language possible. And you have to flip through the instructions.
And one page is English?
One page is English. Regardless of that, then you start reading the instructions. The minute you start reading the instructions, you're looking through it and you're thinking, I don't have a hammer. I don't have this. I don't have that. Oh, where am I going to set it up? Will I finish today? Am I going to do this? Will it turn out right? What if I don't have this? And all of a sudden you're caught up reading the instructions and doing it. How often have you put something on hold because you thought your mind read it, thought through it, problem solved things that don't even exist. And next thing you know, 2 months down the track, the thing's still sitting there. And then all of a sudden you go, I'm going to do it. And you get in there and you do it and you go, why did I wait so long? It took like an eighth of the time because it's the doing. And, throughout the times that we spend together, we have fundamental things that we've been told to do. We have a choice whether we go, oh, I think we can do it in 5 years. I think I might do that in 10 years. I think I might do that when my kids get older. I think I might do that when
I have certain money.
I have a certain amount of money. I think I might do that when I do these things. And then it's like that instruction book. You'll have every other excuse pop up and play and do. And this reading today was really important because it said not only do we have to do, but we also have to have faith behind what we do and then give it up. But we have to do it now, not in the future, not when we feel that things might pop up, not when we feel that we're settled down enough, because we're never settled. We're never gonna, our kids aren't really ever gonna grow up. They're always gonna need us at some level. We're never gonna have
children.
We're never gonna have that right amount of money.
Mm.
But if we keep putting it into the future, that doesn't exist. And all we're doing is setting ourselves up for failure.
Mm.
And that's what Swami was talking about with these lessons. Every time they talked about it, he said, yeah, we can get caught up with astrology. There's truth behind astrology.
That's our next week's guest speaker.
Absolutely. But is that where we want to put our energy? Do we want to put our energy? Because ultimately, we have a choice now, right this very second, to actually do something. And it's kind of an interesting thing. We have a choice to go inward and upward in every single second of our day, or we have a choice to go down. Now, that's very simple, isn't it? And I'm sure we could all think of one way that we could do those things. But when we think about the behind it all, at some point, we've got to get to the fundamentals. What does our guru want of us? What does Swamiji want of us? And just do it.
Now.
Right now. Don't worry about reading another 10 books of Ushers or 20 things. They're all fantastic and they're all wonderful stories and they're all wonderful things to do it. But unless you can get caught up in the listening and growing instead of the doing. And one of Yogananda's stories and Swamiji's is in the doing. Ananda wouldn't exist without those doings. SRF wouldn't have existed without those doings. And then the faith that will come into play. And that is that listening to divine will instead of being caught up in the egoic will of everyday being. We've got beautiful examples. We've got beautiful tools. We've got an amazing group of devotees here in Australia and worldwide. We can tap into at any stage.
Now.
Right now. We have to be the doing and the now.
That was such a thrilling talk. I had to keep bringing in words because it was so engaging. I just wanted to add something that Davy said in a podcast, which means it was tied to her blog, but not everybody actually takes the time to listen to their podcast that goes along with each week's blog. So I encourage all of you to start catching up. It's on I don't know, if you go A Touch of Light podcast, I think it's on the Apple app and the Google one, but it's also on YouTube now. We're starting to release them on YouTube for them. But nevertheless, what she said was, and it was really, this is super important, and it's part of why they have this upcoming worldwide meditation. She said, all of us that are a part of Ananda, we have a really important dharma right now on this planet. We all need to raise our energy now because this planet needs it. And so she said, each of us are to add a bit more seva, add a bit more meditation, whatever we're doing, lift it up a bit more, because Babaji is out sending vibrations to each of us if we're receptive enough to receive them. He is strengthening the light. So each of us are a channel for that light, but we need to be receptive. We need to be fulfilling this purpose. Right now, the consciousness on the planet needs more channels for the light. So each of us it's a paying it forward kind of thing. So we take this inspiration, we come together every Sunday. Thank you, each of you that come, by the way. This is a part of being the next step on your spiritual journey, is coming and giving up Master said this. He said, you give up one day a week for God. Sunday we gather together and we charge our week. This is part of you receiving energy, taking it in, becoming aware of thyself, thy higher self, that self-realization, then sharing it. All week long, you take this energy and you share it, but then you use this message from Davy and Jyotish to inspire yourself to go the next level now, because this is the time people need this now. They need every meditation, each of us to consciously meditate together and send out those vibrations of peace. Every time we're serving to help more people find the light. You know what Yogananda described his teachings? Oh, sorry, Swamiji described Yogananda's teachings. He said Yogananda was in pursuit of universal upliftment. And we get to be channels for that when we serve his work. However that may be. We have a beautiful devotee who just said, I might not be able to give of activities, like little bits here and there, Seva, but I will give energy to the Sangha so that more people can serve, more marketing can go out, whatever it may be. More books. We're out of Autobiography of Yogi. But people are buying them because they're feeling the energy of all of you. I don't think you all realize your dharma of just showing up when you meditate together, when you come to these satsangs together, when you come into retreats together, when you help the next generation of children tune into their choice to be happy by going within and knowing themselves. These are all really, really pivotal things to be doing right now. And to understand that you are being a channel right now, but you have to amplify it, is what David G is trying to encourage us all. Not just, filling our time, starting to make little choices. She said, if you usually meditate 15 minutes in the evening, make it 30. If you usually meditate 45 minutes in the morning, make it an hour. So adding to that, if you do one little seva here, add to it, whatever that might be for you. But know that everything that we're doing as a Sangha matters. And tomorrow morning, is it tomorrow? We have even a longer meditation.
Yeah.
And these are all opportunities. And I think all of you that came, whether in spirit or energetically over the past weekend, and then that stayed, it was magnificent. I feel so close to all of you in a way, including all of you that just come on Sundays or in other ways. It feels like we're becoming a true spiritual family. And every time we meditate together and come together in these ways, just know that you're putting out these vibrations where people are saying, I want to get Kriya. I want to buy Autobiography of Yogi. It's very powerful. So never underestimate just showing up now, what that is doing, what that choice is making. And there was a woman who was at our retreat this weekend, and she was just coming back to learning to meditate every day, even that. And she wanted to be around a group of people who meditate daily, twice daily. And she said, the gift of meditation is being myself. It's learning to be aware of my center. Who am I? The soul that is in this body temple. But it's through meditation, through service, through devotion, through all of you sharing just vibrations with this world and inspiring someone to learn to meditate, to read a book, to have a laugh, to share kindness, whatever that might be. This is the time. It is now.
I love it. I just want to share one thing that we got posed an interesting question, and I want you to reflect on it as well. And the question that we were posed was, if Jyotish and Davy G sent ministers to Australia to take over, would we decrease our energy, keep our energy the same, or increase our energy? So just have a little ponder on that. So if Ananda ministers, so we are Ananda ministers, but if Jyotish and Devi decided that they wanted someone else to come in and do that, what would we do? And they were the three questions posed. And it's kind of interesting. Who said increase? Who believes that they would increase the energy? So the interesting thing was we would keep it the same because we're already giving the maximum amount of energy that we can. And that's the difference. Every day we should be giving the maximum amount of energy to what we are, because that's how we grow.
Yes. I just got goosebumps. Yes.
If we're thinking if something else happens, I'll give more energy, that never comes.
Mm.
And it was such an interesting question. And it's something that we can ponder, but not too long. We have to do. Because
see you
how do we
tomorrow.
So how do we grow energy together now?
Yes. Actually, we'll see some of you tomorrow. And let me stop the recording, but just before we share